In this video, we are going to cover the first two steps of the research process, which is selecting a research topic and forming research questions. So the ultimate goal by the end of this lesson is to select a social issue to use as your research topic, form a central research question, and guiding questions to help narrow the focus of your investigation before we start doing the actual research. So the first step that we've covered in lesson 3.1 is choosing a research topic. And I have narrowed down the focus of your research to include only social issues. So remember, we're not picking something that we just find interesting, like crocheting or dinosaurs. We're picking a social issue and a problem that affects individuals or groups of people within a society, and then we're going to be proposing a solution to help fix that problem, but we're focusing on social issues. Remember, we did the brainstorm with question 4 in our lesson 3.0, so we have already brainstormed a lot of ideas that you're going to be able to use, but I want to make sure we understand what social issues are. Social issues often involve social structures, behaviors, or norms. And social structures are any like relationship between people. So that affects every aspects of our lives. So these could be things like at home, what's the social structure there within the family? Social structures at work, like who's the boss versus who answers to the boss. And then what are the behaviors or norms that are expected in those places? So how does the person or people in power expect themselves to behave, and then also the people who answer to them? And an imbalance of power can contribute to inequality, injustice, and other negative outcomes, which perpetuates discrimination and limits access to opportunities, so it makes it inequitable. Some examples of social issues are poverty, education inequality, environmental issues such as like pollution, and discrimination. Okay, let's talk about the levels of social issues. So it's important to know the levels of social issues so that we can help narrow our focus or broaden our focus about who is going to be affected, why it matters, and then what are the steps that need to be taken in order to solve that problem. So first, we're going to take a look at this diagram to show the different levels. And right now we're focusing on the smallest or narrowest region, which is the local or regional level of social issue. So this affects a specific community, town, or region. So we're thinking of this as in like Hartford or Hartford area or North Connecticut versus Connecticut as a whole state. Some examples that would affect just a community, town, or region are a lack of public transportation, high crime rates in certain areas, and then local pollution and waste management issues. So sometimes there are like factories that contribute to local pollution. If we consider like the California wildfires, that would be a form of, like an issue within the climate in just that area that's not affecting other parts of California. This level of social issue is important because they directly impact residents' quality of life. We're going to look at some broader social issues that might not necessarily impact us on like a day-to-day level, but local or regional social issues would directly impact those residents in that area. So a lack of public transportation is affecting only the people in that area. So we have pretty good public transportation here, but maybe like where I live in Granby, we don't have public transportation. So if I lived in Hartford, I'd be able to get around, whereas a little ways down the road, that's not available. The next level is the national level. So we're looking at an entire nation. So that would be like looking at the United States or a significant portion of it. So maybe like New England or the Midwest or the South. Examples are healthcare access and national education policies. So if we think of healthcare access, in Canada, for example, they have universal healthcare, whereas in America, we have to go through insurance companies. These are important because they influence laws, politics, and economic policies. So we have like state laws and we also have national laws, so that would affect the entire country. This also influences politics. So we have just gotten a new president and we're seeing the influence of that already only on day, 9? And this also influences economic policies, so money. The next level is international. So we're looking at 2 or more countries, so like Canada and the US or the US and Mexico, but aren't quite global in scope. So we're talking about more than one country now, but it's not spanning the entire world. Some examples would be immigration policies, shared natural resources like water. So if there's a body of water that people use like to get their drinking water and it's shared between countries, then that would be an issue. Trade practices and religious freedoms and conflict. And these are important because they require cooperation between countries that have sometimes vastly different laws and forms of government. Diplomatic, meaning relationships between countries. So maintaining harmony and peace between countries. Problem solving, that kind of thing. And then lastly is global. So this affects the entire world. Some examples are climate change. So some areas are affected more than others, but this is something that impacts everyone around the globe. Health pandemics such as COVID. So we had to mitigate that problem in different ways, like international travel, like different countries that mandated vaccines, access to vaccines, that kind of thing. Worldwide poverty and food insecurity. These are important because they impact everyone regardless of nationality. So it doesn't matter where you come from, what you believe, what color your skin is, they impact everybody. And they require collective action to solve. So in order for it to be effective, everybody has to contribute to help solve the problem. So with the understanding of what social issues are and the levels of social issues, as part of the rest of your lesson, you're going to be generating ideas for a social issue that you'll choose and then selecting the social issue for your research.